Hi everybody, don't mind me, it's hot today, it's like 100 degrees. I don't mind as long as I'm not wearing much. I don't mind the heat at all. There's so many questions coming in and it's hard to kind of like answer everything. And a lot of people say, why do you call it wood chip nightmare? Well, let's just say, sorry, I gotta keep going because I never have enough hours in the, to get everything done. I have so much to do. My husband doesn't like going online. He never used to go online at all. He didn't even want to look at a computer. And then I went and got myself a computer. Oh, we had ice cream today. I made ice cream. I make ice cream almost every day. I got myself a different computer and I gave him mine. And he wasn't going to use it. And all of a sudden he started using it and going online. So I thought, well good, he's entertaining himself. He found something. I showed him where YouTube was and all that. I don't even know if he really doesn't have email he uses or anything. And he started to look up a lot of stuff, free stuff. He loves picking up stuff, people giving away, chain link and different things and all kinds of stuff like that. So he would go and pick up free stuff. Then all of a sudden, he says he's going to pick up some wood chips. I didn't know what he was talking about. Wood chips? He's going to pick up wood chips. And he found the guy that's close by. The guy is close by. He actually lives in our same town. Whatever. Let him go do what he wants if that's what makes him happy. And he comes and he's calling the guy and he's setting up these times and he's going in the afternoon. And he's bringing back truckloads. Now, every day he's bringing back 1, 2, 3 truckloads. He'd do 3 or 4 truckloads, his truck, a 3/4 ton Chevy truck. And he would fill it up and then he'd tell me, oh, the guy's going to have dinner, I got to go back tomorrow. And he started bringing in more and more of these wood chips, and he's piling them up on the property. Well, what are you doing? He said he's going to improve the soil. I said, for what? We don't even have time to do anything. And he said, no, we're going to make a garden. He said, we can't grow anything in this soil. This soil is dusty, and then when it gets wet, it's like muck. It sticks to your feet when it's raining, and you come in, and you've got 3 inches of muck. My local sheriff called it something else. And he said he's going to change the soil. He's been watching videos. I had no idea what he was talking about. Now he's got mountains. And he's bringing in so much. He actually took me over to the guy's house. And the guy, no joke, must have had a 20, 30-foot mountain of wood chips. Apparently the guy ended up with so much he couldn't use it all. Because he told somebody he'll take all they had. Now, keep in mind, this guy had a lot of money, and he bought himself, he had his own tractor, so he can move it around. And we're not talking about a bobcat, we're talking about full-size tractor. I lost my teeth, there's my teeth. And I said, if the guy's got that much, and he doesn't want it, maybe there's something wrong with it and you don't want it either. No, the guy's so nice. I've been talking to him. He's got a garden and chickens and all this stuff. And it's just going to be great. That's why it was a nightmare. It just became so much. So I kind of ignored it a little bit in the beginning because he was still getting it from the one guy. Next thing I know, he's running after Edison tree trimmers out here. And they're bringing in now 10,000-pound truck loads of it. I really did think it was a nightmare. It was all over. You couldn't move on the property. We couldn't drive our cars anymore. I had a party and family were coming and there was no place for anybody to park. I said to him, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to move it. He's moving it around with his truck and his little wheelbarrow. And trash cans. He was loading up trash cans. It was unreal. I really honestly thought he lost his mind. And I thought, if he loses his mind and he suddenly takes off, who knows, and disappeared. What in the world, which I don't know if you really do that, what in the world am I going to do with all this? So I tried to tell him enough is enough, but it didn't. It just kept coming and coming, and the truckloads were coming, and if we weren't home, the guys would leave it out in the street. Then somebody came and said, we can't leave it out in the street. No kidding, you can't leave 10,000 pounds of wood chips out in the street. So we had to stop that. And then he was spreading it around down below. We have like a hill, there's 2 acres. He started spreading it around, and I will admit, I don't want to drag this out, I started seeing the land change. Now, we were going through a terrible drought, so a lot of the neighbors, we have avocado trees. There used to be 32 avocado trees on the property, and a lot of them over the years have started to die with the drought. Our neighbors lost almost all of them. My other neighbor lost almost all of them. And those trees were starting to come back. Even trees that we thought were dead started coming back. And then he started planting these, he planted Brazilian pepper trees. He wanted to line part of the property, and these tiny Brazilian pepper trees, in 2 years, I don't even know how tall they are. They're over 10 feet, 15 feet tall. They just took off. Then he cleared it and started planting sweet potatoes, and he had sweet potatoes. And I started thinking, well, maybe he's not losing his mind. So I went ahead and decided to start checking it out myself, and I saw what was going on. There is a lot of, people, Paul up in Washington, he has wood chips, and you start seeing what they're doing with wood chips, and it turned out it wasn't that bad. In the beginning, I didn't want it near my little kitchen garden outside. There's a little kitchen garden, and I didn't want it out there. I thought, oh, what am I going to do with it when I don't want it? Rake it up and get rid of it? I was worried because people talk about free compost. You don't get, any time a company, especially trash companies or the city, they want to give away free compost. We got someone's, it was the most deadliest stuff. It would kill anything. I spread it out and it would kill anything. So that was scary. So I was scared over the wood chips. But everybody's calling them wood chips, and they're not really wood chips. You're getting the entire tree. You're getting the trunk, the branches, the leaves, the green leaves, and it's all shredded. And I will say, when they bring it down here, it smells so good. And it does break down. It can break down at different speeds. There's ways of speeding it up. And it was less than a year, I noticed that he actually was on to something. So at that point, I got on the phone and I found local arborists that were more than happy to get rid of it, because to go to the local dumps in LA, it could be anywhere between $100 and $125, $145 for them to dump a large 10,000 pound truck there. So they were more than happy to bring it in, they still do. So it was a nightmare. I was scared to death. I didn't know what he was doing, but it turned out okay. It turned out okay. So now we have all kinds of stuff. We grow everything, and it's kind of sad to look around and see a lot of the neighbors have lost their avocado trees that have been here, some of them for like 100 years, and those trees are gone and dead. It worked out really good. So was it a nightmare? I was scared to death what he was doing. Like I said, 1 minute there's nothing, and all of a sudden you've got a mountain, literally a mountain of this stuff, and I didn't know anything about it. I'll have to do a video more on how to speed up breaking it down. If you, let's say you want to use it for gardening, you can have a small load. Let's go back real quick. My friend now who comes over here, she lives out in Riverside, her son wanted to start gardening, and they had no way of getting it in. So I said, well, you got a big property, dump it on yours and let him truck it over like my husband did, little by little. And he's doing that. You can take a pile of the mulched up tree and water it. If you just go out there and hose it, the water will seep in, and on the inside it will stay damp. It'll look like it's all dry, but it'll stay damp. And it starts to break down, and you get the fungi and all that growing, and then before you know it, you've got all kinds of insects in there eating it away, and earthworms from the dried dirt that you thought never had earthworms come up, and it becomes alive on the inside. You can dig that away. You can do that really quick. You can dig that away and use the inside in a raised bed. You can use it for different things. You could even just take a place that you're planting and dig it away and spread that on the top. It's like a tea. When you water it, it will just soak into the ground and the plants will love it. But there are ways of speeding it up. If you leave it, and if you leave it dry, it won't break down. I mean, water is life, and it needs water. So it has to be wet in some way to break down. But it doesn't need a lot of water, because once it gets inside, the wood from the tree will hold on to the water, and it will stay wet. Even if you only wet it a couple times here and there, it will stay wet on the inside and break down. But it was a nightmare, and believe you me. You know, I didn't know what he was doing. He tried to explain it to me, and I thought, oh no, no. He has done a lot of odd hobbies over the years to try, and I thought this was one of those things. We ended up with a whole bunch of tree frogs once, and there was something else he got into, and then it was like, no, it wasn't his thing. So I thought, oh no, he's bringing in all this wood, and then he's going to decide one day he doesn't want it, and then what? But it turned out, no, he can use all he wants, and he's spreading it all over, and it works out really good. My brother's brought some home, and he's putting it around his stuff, and it was a nightmare. I was scared. Now it's not a nightmare, but it was a nightmare. I had no idea what he was doing, and I will say I've helped him get it by calling the tree arborist and saying, hey, just dump it here. And they call. Sometimes they come over, and if they see the big gates open, and it's 2 acres, we could be anywhere on the property, sometimes they just drive in. They kind of know where he's been building it up, and they'll dump it. And they'll dump it anywhere he wants, which is really good. He doesn't really have to move it that far, too. But that's it on the wood chips. I don't know how good this is going to be. I don't have a mic. Excuse the way I'm dressed. Like I said, it's 100 degrees, and I made this top. I cut up a t-shirt, made a tank top, tube top out of it because it's so hot. I think I'm going to do my question and answers this way, and then I can get my stuff done. Like I said, I made ice cream today. I just made my tea, so I've been drinking my tea. I think I got everything done. Now I can go do my gardening, and I'll make a list, and I'll try to get some more questions and answers done. But that is the story on the nightmare. It was a nightmare. I was scared. I had no idea what he was doing, and it has changed our life. We've now got apple trees growing. We've got our avocado trees are full of avocados right now. Oranges. I planted orange trees that would grow these tiny little nothing oranges. Now with the wood chips all over, he put it, I think around the orange trees, it's about that thick. And don't worry if it's even up against the trunk, it doesn't hurt him. We get massive oranges. I don't have any in here. We already used them. I mean, they're huge oranges and sweet like sugar. All different oranges from all the trees. I went and bought these trees, I think when Kmart was still open, and I planted them, wow, 25 years ago. And they did nothing. They just sat there, and they were kind of small. They never really did much. Watered them, fed them, and they kind of, because the ground is so bad. And then when he put the wood chips, they just took off. They took, after sitting there for 20 years doing nothing, they have now taken off, and they're massive trees out my kitchen window. They smell so good, and we get oranges. We have more oranges than we'll ever use, but that's okay because I'll give to my mom or anybody that wants. But we use a lot of oranges. But anyways, it has changed our life, and it has changed our life for the better, and I don't know what else to say about wood chips. I know the average person can't probably take a 10,000 pound roughly truck, come and dump it, but if you maybe got together with somebody, that's the big thing, is the tree arborists and the tree trimming companies, they want to dump the entire load, and you need a place to dump the load, and you don't want to dump it on the street because it'll take you forever to move it. So the best thing to do is try to find somebody who maybe can't, and maybe you can share it with them and work with it, you know, with them on it. Here we have enough room. They've been bringing it. He told them to slow down a little bit. Another tip, he really likes to get it in the spring and summer, maybe just into the fall, because this way, depending on the tree, you're getting the whole tree, which is really good when you're getting the trunk and the branches and the leaves. Then you got a good mix, and the mulch breaks down really, really good. So you kind of want the whole thing. If it's a tree that loses its leaves and you're just getting just the wood, it will take a little longer to break down. It will break down, but might take a little longer. We get all kinds of trees. He gets pine trees, he gets avocado trees, ash trees, They usually give them a list of what it is if they know. They usually have an idea of what they're trimming. I mean, you know, but and it's local trees. The ones we're getting right now is all our local trees. So it could be neighbors in the area that are trimming trees. A lot of people don't like their trees. Not just trimming them. A lot of people take out the whole tree. And so we're getting local trees. Somebody brought up ticks. They said, oh, the mulch brings in shredded trees bring in ticks. We have never had that. Ticks will come from your ground squirrels, really, mainly. And yes, we have skunks and stuff. So there are ticks in the area. There's nothing we can do, but it's not coming from the trees. They were here long before the woodchips ever showed up. As far as a fire hazard, I'm looking at my dog. She's laying there wondering what I'm doing. Who am I talking to? Maybe I'm talking to you. But anyways, as far as a fire hazard, no. We have very strong weed abatement here, and when the fire department comes out, they love it because they know that it looks like it's dry and it would burn, but as soon as you move the wood chips, it's wet underneath. It's damp because the wood chips, it's a mulch. It holds in the moisture, so when it rains, it's like a sponge. It is holding it in, and when the water is coming up, it doesn't go that far up, so it doesn't all evaporate. It holds much better than plain soil that doesn't have a cover. Think of a blanket. It's a blanket over the earth and the ground, and it holds the moisture in, so they love it. It would be the opposite. It's not good. There isn't anything to burn because it's always damp. Well, that's about it. I'm going to go over all my questions and answers and see if this works. I don't even know if you can hear me. And I'm going to do it when I'm doing things. Maybe tomorrow or another day I'll do it. I've got to make some pickles. I've been bringing in my cucumbers, and I've got my pickles to make. I can maybe do that. I like doing different things at one time. I multitask all the time. Well, everybody have a good day. I got to run and shut my camera off because I'm doing this myself. Don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.